Так, всем привет.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Мне, наверное, надо это читать. Просто хочу начать с самого начала, с дома.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't
Я
allowed
жила
inside
тут
half the
до
rooms.
11 лет, но в половину комнат меня не пускали. Херово тебе жилось, наверное, что я скажу. Ну, отпуск. Как открыть тебя, господи?
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years
Я
ago,
нашла счета
marked urgent,
7-летней
open
давности с
immediately.
пометкой «Срочно». А, все, я разобралась. Примерно мышкой.
I had
7
to be
лет
back since
прошло.
my brother
Да.
Lewis's funeral.
Я не была здесь со дня похорон моего брата Льюиса. Мы можем упасть. Ой, она что, беременная? Серьезно?
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Ключ не сообщили мне,
Maybe
что
she thought
именно
I'd know.
открывает.
Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Тайны хватит, чтобы я решила свернуться. А что там? Нам же явно не туда надо идти. Ну ладно, давайте сходим. Она может бегать? Она может только присматриваться. Блин, она серьезно беременная? Разыскивается. Брат, наверное, ее.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
Зачем же ты тогда
But now I have
возвращаешься?
questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Ответы знал только дом. Угу.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Неуютная тишина. Интересно. Где лягушка? Ой, их можно найти?
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Ну, странно, как можно не запомнить свой дом, в котором ты жил. Он мне снился, бла-бла-бла.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Дом вызывал тревожное ощущение.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words
17,
were.
я точно знаю, что это
I
было
was
за
afraid of the
чувство.
house.
Дом меня пугал. Блядь, ты беременная. 17 лет. Как-то руками там, не знаю, подраться, попрыгать. Нет? Только ходить вперед. А, серьезно? Прям так сразу?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Это музычка. Может, ее потише сделать? Ну и чего мы тут? Ну дом, ну гараж. Что это такое?
For the first time in years,
Впервые за несколько лет
I felt like I was home.
я чувствовала себя дома. Ну, бля, неплохо жили. Слушайте-ка. О, винишко такое продается, винишко, кстати. Да и такое, наверное, тоже. Хера у них тут это...
But
Тунца.
instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Ой, правда, о семье остались только воспоминания.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Только китайщина, короче, им все возила. Что, мы тут попечем
Or how
сейчас?
after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
А, это лосось. Луис работал на консервном заводе. Привет, привет! Мага, привет! Дима, привет! Что-то я тут так засмотрелась, даже не увидела вас. Привет всем.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it. Like a smile with too many teeth.
Странно какая-то тоже девка, блин, со своими причудами. Дом слишком большой.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Бурный последний день был, оказывается, здесь какой-то.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Что мой брат Милтон жив. Какого-то Льюиса они похоронили. Какой-то Милсон или кто-то должен быть жив. Я думала, это его и похоронили. Ёпта, а что это с дверью?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Где-нибудь в библиотеке. Класс. Как мне уйти от тебя? Зачем она пеной-то залита, дверь-то эта? Странные. Ладно, где мы еще не были? Так, мы тут были. И все же вот я люблю американские эти кухни. Вот здесь кухня, здесь по-любому у них гостиная. Я прям даже уже по фильмам всяким знаю. Да, тут ничего нельзя почитать.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Живых, но пощадила всю мебель, господи. Как-то она пессимистка. Дом слишком большой.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine great-grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Не надо так, пожалуйста, ветер шуметь. Я вчера тоже жестиков всяких насмотрелась, и вот сегодня меня сподвигло поиграть в эту игру. Ну, хоть она и не страшная, но она какая-то странная.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
Классно вообще. Дом затонул, значит, и камин сложили из затонувших этих. Нельзя вообще-то так вот. Так же, ну, типа, потом беда будет. У нас вон в деревне мужик, короче, дом себе... Ну, не дом, гараж построил с этого... С полуразваленного, короче, скотного двора, и они его что-то там бегали, вот сколько этого тунца. Разбирали, и, короче, он у него потом сгорел, этот гараж. Как только он его достроил, он у него сгорел. Так, мы там были? Да, там камин, да? Идемте на второй этаж. Бабушка, наверное, ездила.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Вот место люди просверлили дверные... А, А, это мамаша, короче, все двери запенила. Вот странная женщина. У нее пропал, короче, ребенок, и она запенила эти.
My grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Дедушка с братом жил, короче. Это, походу, дедушкина комната. Напополам, да, такая? Понятно. Это что, типа, года жизни? Или... Зачем?
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Странно вообще так жить. В своем же доме с запертыми дверями. Раз столько картин. Как я там побежала? Так, идемте сюда, потом туда. Ой, ё-моё. Ладно, справа в эту запененную дверь посмотрим. Молли.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in
Умерла еще в
1947.
47 году. Охереть, почему тут дом... Блин, сейчас тут, блин. Дом, где просто у каждого тут на двери написано годы жизни. Капец, я бы не хотела реально в таком доме жить. Так, потом туда сходим, пойдемте сюда.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
Часто
I think
играла
my
в
mom
комнате
sometimes
двоюродного
regretted not sealing it up.
дедушки. Наверное, мама порой желала, что запрет ее. Или что там, да? Классная вообще игровая комната.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Люся сказала мне о потайных ходах, но я ему не верила. Ключ отсюда? Ля. Потайной ход. Вот это ничего себе.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Пришумелась.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Теперь настало время узнать, чего же так боялась моя мама. Ну, полезли. Мамаша странная была, если честно.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan.
Что у меня был план.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Ну, такая милая котеечка. Ой, варежки у него прикольные, да? Блин, а как посмотреть-то? Ладно, я посмотрю. Во. Такая типа как свитер. Ну, наверное, она.
But I had no idea what was behind that door.
Что за той дверью? Я не знала. Вау. Что же это?
Just like I had no idea where all this was
Вообще
gonna lead.
понятия не имела, к чему все это может привести. Первое сохранение. Типа в этой комнате она ни разу не была,
I
что
grew up
ли?
looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
Часто заглядывала в комнату в глазок. Через дверной, короче. Что это? Хомячок есть мертвый, нет? Убежал. Какашки только в миске оставил. Ну давай посмотрим.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Миниатюрная. А, это нихера, это такой дом. Понятно. Землетрясение хомячку. Все. Закрой. Либо она толстая, меня смущает ее живот, либо она
Being
беременная.
inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Угу. Пролезла и считает, что она в сказке. Ну, слушай, если все детство жить и не знать, что за дверью, да. Ля, какой вид. Я бы тоже хотела в такой комнате жить. Конечно, по ночам бы меня пугало это дерево, но не важно.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Это типа мы сейчас в детство, да?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Чё, дура? Отпусти рыбку. Просто попей воды. Хочешь есть, попей водички. Рыбку она хотела съесть. Все, ладно, уходим отсюда.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Ну, на самом деле это жестко. Детей
My
наказывать
Halloween
едой.
candy was all gone.
Конфет с Хэллоуина не осталось. Что еще мы пожрать тут можем?
I kept eating and eating.
Пасту зубную сожрала. Зачем?
I ate a lot of things that night.
Это же пластмассовые. Ты что делаешь, девочка?
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
Слышала за окном чириканье.
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest.
Эта ласточка возвращалась
I
в свое
reached out for
гнездо.
her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
Класс. Я кошка. Я могу свалить, значит, из этого? И что мне делать? И чё, ну, кошка я. Я не могу никуда больше пойти. Вот, все, я поняла.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Я тебя догоню. Где она?
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Куда ты мне предлагаешь дальше?
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
Эй, я так далеко не
Now I was up in the
заберусь.
big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Как мне тут смотреть-то? Я не понимаю.
Rabbits.
Заяц. Где зайцы?
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Что, блядь? Мне кажется, эта девочка что-то жрала просто, либо ее мамка
I
чем-то.
rolled off the cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
И он был очень вкусный. Где морской кот? Я хочу. Я промазала. Херовая из меня акула. Та-дам, 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 та-да-да-да.
Got tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Да, я открыла глаза, все изменилось. Что у тебя изменилось? Ты кто? Господи, это кто? Это что? Я что?
Now I was a monster, and I smelled
Теперь я стала
people.
чудовищем и чуяла людей. Где? Ну ты же чудище, ты можешь проплыть. Где ты людей-то учуял?
I was big,
Сейчас его
and I
сожрем.
moved real quiet.
Да, ты нам не с этой стороны, нам на ступеньке. Мы же чудище. Мы двигаемся очень медленно.
wanted to stop, but also I didn't. After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Да бля, я не понимаю, как ее управлять.
I got closer and closer.
Я уже была близко. Ой, это же ее комната. Да, она на кровати, наверное. Куда нам надо-то? Что нам... А, тут что-то написано.
All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Я буду очень вкусной. Вот это у нее она словила, да, сон.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Они типа что, я не поняла, все умерли? Или что? 2010, 1999, типа она родилась, и она еще не умерла. А эти все умерли? Серьезно? Типа вся ее семья умерла? Закрывай свою книгу.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
А почему она умерла? Много ела или, ну, в смысле мурмял? Здесь есть кот? Все, мы сюда уже идти не
I can't
хотим.
describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Ну, началось. Давай, Молли все еще здесь. Да-да-да. Иди, сваливай отсюда. Что мы еще посмотрим? Все, ты на все посмотрела. Больше ничего не хочешь смотреть. А. Кис-кис-кис, да, типа того. Зачем ты поползла туда?
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
Ни единой
Edie
из
would
этих
have, but Mom
историй.
didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Зашибись. У тебя умерла дочка по имени Молли, и ты берешь бродячую кошку и называешь ее Молли. Ну, это пиздец, честно. Семейка с приветом была. Два. Здесь
I
ты
spent a
тоже
lot of
была.
time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
Это прабабушка, да, у нас?
Louis died a week
Прабабушка
before we
Эдди.
left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Угу.
Her room was like a museum.
Комната как музей. Давай посмотрим. Блин, у меня в
For
детстве
500
тоже была
years,
такая
the
штука.
Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Проклятие.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Серьезно, он по морю дом перевозил?
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Так все, мы это посмотрели. Как мне тебя это? А.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Так мы ж не все посмотрели. А, типа, в этой комнате история все закончилась,
When
да?
Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Умерли.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Бабушка ее. Бабушка выглядела гораздо моложе моей матери.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Розовая ванна, я тоже хотела сказать, нифига она такая прикольная.
It
Бабуля,
was a pretty big trace.
что там было написано? Впрочем, это был что-то какой-то там след. О, ключик. Опять подойдет этот ключ от всех замков. Офигеть. Мы сейчас полезем в сливной бачок. Да?
There's a secret in this bathroom.
Секрет.
It's in the last place you would look.
Он стоит той стороны.
It isn't in the cupboard.
Не надо лезть за ним в буфет.
It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
О, у меня мама, кстати, это проявляла ли тут в этих фотки. У меня мама тоже такой фигней занималась, я помню. Ну, пойдем. Бухлишка. Ой, фига, это что?
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never
Дедушки
talked
Сэма
about
был
him.
брат-близнец. Но дедушка о нем никогда не говорил. Ну,
I guess
странно.
my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Классно сделано, что
Calvin, dinner's ready.
бело-черное.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Да я пытаюсь остановиться. Хватит, может, качаться. Ой, я могу ноги по-разному эти поднимать. Остановись. Я не понимаю, как остановить. А вообще надо останавливаться или не надо? Или надо со всей дури раскачаться? Наверное, надо со всей дури раскачаться. Давайте. Там он что-то мигает в море. Свалимся, еще одну ногу сломаем.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Ну, жутко.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Ну, вообще так-то надо иметь на качели-то, блин, так качаться. Блин, ну это жестко.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
С этой стороны у нас другой, да? Что, мне тут рога мешают пройти?
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Нет, подожди, мы не все посмотрели. Ля, какая книжка прикольная.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
А, на кого-то с животом поменьше. Понятно, она беременная все-таки. Я же, блин, сразу... Так и поняла. Потому что у нее вот пузо. Я сразу увидела. Так, что тут?
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
А, это мы выползли. Опять туда?
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara. Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
И что, типа, все заперто и пошло. И что дальше-то мне делать? Мы тут были, там смотрели. Я как понимаю, в этих комнатах мы тоже были, да? Да, розовая ванна. Это комната бабушки. Да, отсюда мы выползли. Сюда нас что-то запертое не пускают.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Мы здесь не были. Как нам туда попасть? Мы отсюда выползли. Мы туда можем выползти? Вот.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Популярная какая-то девочка была.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Мы описали.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
А, это я типа тут в этой же комиксе.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Ну как мне туда пройти? А, костылем. Получаю.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
А, тут батя руку отпилил.
Old Finch rattled and grew still.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
А как к нему туда наверх пройти-то? Тут есть ступенька? Где? А.
Walter, are you there? Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it.
Ну и чего? Мы не могли никого бросить.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Ну, опять сейчас его добить надо или чего?
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Естественно, ты пойдешь и откроешь дверь, да?
Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life.
Привет, привет.
I wasn't there myself.
Дела нормально.
I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Ой, пиздец.
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Терпишь сейчас. Я сейчас нигде вообще в основном не играю.
Edie told me all
Так
Barbara
на
wanted
Зайбиксе.
to be remembered.
Если
As absurd
захожу,
as
то
that
на
comic
Зайбикс.
was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Ну, что я могу сказать? Жестко, короче. Жестко. Барбару. Барбару убили. Ты где играешь? Типа Барбару убили и еще и комикс про это написали. Класс вообще. А это интересно. Ухо лежит в шкатулке музыкальной. Что надо в подвал сходить? Ага, нам надо теперь вылезать.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Так, в итоге-то мы там все ползаем. Давайте, а где эта музыкальная шкатулка-то должна стоять? Где-то входа в подвал.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Ну, это я тоже так думаю. Пойдем поищем. Так. куда идти-то? А, ну вот он, господи. Плохо играла ты со шкатулкой-то музыкальной.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years.
30 лет просидел.
On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
Я тоже
I always
персиков
expected to be
захотела.
dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Он целиком.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
Еще глубже.
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara, second, Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one more day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Блядь, его поезд сбил.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
А, это брат-близнец дедушки, который жил в подвале.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Давай, открывай. Ну, естественно, мы же тоже полезем туда.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive.
А тряски это были просто поезда ездили.
Maybe two. I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
А, это вот типа его могила. И чё, мы типа посмотрели и все? Вали обратно? Здесь можно пройти. Почему стулья здесь не
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Стулья зачем на деревьях?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family.
Ага, типа ей было 11, 6 лет никого не было, и тут эти светильники работают до сих пор, да?
And the history you're a part of.
Там маяк. Какие-то
Though, to be
эти
honest,
тут
I feel as lost as you
сектантские эти
probably do right
валяются.
now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
мы тут были? Ты что-нибудь поговоришь? Нет? Нет, не хочешь. Так долго
And
она,
when you look
блин,
at the
ходит.
house, had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness.
Вот я смотрю на этот дом и вижу просто кучу будок, не пойми как состроенных. Вот, а она тут
Any of
расписывает.
it seems possible.
Ну. А, вот теперь мы обошли с этой стороны. А, вон туда.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Да и правда, что за семья, что которая
It's
кладбище.
embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
$11 лет? Что не 10 лет? Что все самые долгожители. Странно, нифига.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
А, это дом, который везли, и, короче, это... Который не доплыл чуть-чуть.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand.
Капец, дом, где они живут, и рядом кладбище домашних животных, кладбище людей. Ну это пиздец, это
But the older
серьезно.
I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Охренеть. Мне бы тоже жутко было здесь жить.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Ну давай, беременная, поползли.
But looking back on it now,
Ну, пойдемте наверх сперва.
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never
Серьезно?
would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Вот, да, 22 недели беременна. Серьезно, типа, тебе надо идти вниз туда. Подожди, ладно, ты идешь по дереву. У меня что внизу тогда у нас? А, там нету прохода, извините. Извините. Ты дура, вот, ну честно, вот. Так, там гараж, правильно я понимаю? Это гараж у нас. Да, мы здесь пришли. Так, ты опять бойню у меня
I
тут
never met
устроила.
Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Дедушка жил в одном доме с ними, но она его за 11 лет ни разу не видела. Странная семья, я вот говорю.
They were both pretty intense.
Мишка классный. Письмецо, почитаем.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm?
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Все-таки надо что-то сфоткать, что... Что-то сфоткать надо. Вот это, наверное, да? Нет.
Aw.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip.
Я не знаю,
Your
что
grandpa
тут
Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target.
хрена она там.
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Нормально, стреляйте, по теперь ноет. А, батька его.
Sorry, Dawn, just gotta reset the timer.
Да господи, поднимайся ты.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so...
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad! Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Охренеть, да ладно, нифига, вот так вот и помер. Нормально, да, нелепая смерть. Олень рогами столкнул.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
Одна в кошку превращалась, другой лягушками в ванне управлял. С уточками.
I know how silly it sounds.
Понятно.
But I worried about a baby being too happy. I'm slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too.
Да ладно, ребенок утонул в ванне. Пиздец, все из-за этого, блядь, вот Сэма, который, сука, ей позвонил. Блядь. Годик был, вот, 1 годик. В годик ребенок, блядь, умер. В ванне утонул. Ой, да, блядь. Нахер он все и названивал.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet... A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
И чё, я тут, блин, должна расшифровывать, что ли, или что?
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Не нужна нам мать новая. Ну и чего? Все, я прочитала это. На кого-то уронить надо. А, вот тут что-то.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Вот тебя.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Ищем буквы. Значки обозначения.
in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
А, стулья на деревьях.
Thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Мы вроде все собрали, да?
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you. She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Капец. Ну и семейка. Ну что, беременная, давай.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Сейчас про маму что-нибудь
At
узнаем.
the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Ну, это ее отец, ни хрена. Это ее, типа, мама.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
Папа умер у нее, понятно.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it
Блин,
didn't
ну
last.
нарисовано все вообще классно. Вдаль можно смотреть.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Типа в 92-м году родился и до сих пор, ну, пропал, и его не нашли. Потому что, ну, по факту же на всех дверях написано.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Ну, чего, и все? У меня мама такие делала. Ну, так листать страницы.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Да закрывай.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Да, пена намного потратила. Блин, ну красиво. Мы тут... А, может, нам надо туда подальше сходить? Наверх, типа, еще наверх. Там ступеньки были. Или мы тут были? Ну, давай, беременная, поднимайся.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Лодка. Кальянчик, не дурно, не дурно.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Не дурно он так тут вообще, да. Блин, вообще ништяк. Сидишь, 2 Моника. Ну и пофиг, что они старые. Сидишь, играешь, там такой видок у тебя просто класс. Ладно, давайте посмотрим,
Lewis
что
and I
тут у
spent
нас.
a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Это сложно, блин, и этой рукой, и той.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then, daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia.
Utopia.
He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Привет. Спустя месяца 3, да-да.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Это типа он. Да, мы же сейчас этим занимались.
I still thought I could save him.
Как у тебя дела?
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder, palace would be packed with his companions.
Спасибо. Вот такие вот чудовища безлицые меня пугают. Я тут это Слайдермена посмотрела просто.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting me. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Так вот, я жду, да, умер. Ну вы поняли, да, от чего он умер?
I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Он отрубил себе голову на рыбном заводе. Это пиздец просто.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Это жесть. Все от чего-то... У меня аж мурашки просто. Такой дом вообще, да? Игра у меня в названии написано. Мне не произнести.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start.
А у меня не написано в названии?
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Знаете, что это? Не написано. Было же написано, блин.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Мама осталась... Будет, знаете, что самое прикольное? Что вот эта беременная женщина себя убьет в конце. Типа все узнает и такая, ёб твою идти, как я с этим буду жить? И тоже... Короче, тут вообще жесть. Если так. Нелегко. Мы еще все выше и выше ползем.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Давай,
the whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
О, у нее здесь тоже рукавички прикольные.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
А, бабулька же согласилась, там, типа, вначале рассказывала она, что, типа, в дом престарелых. Сейчас она говорит, что она не поедет никуда.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Да негде играть, нам фришку, я не хочу идти.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
А так на Зайбиксе играю.
They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
Так, ну мы же идем просто прямо, никуда не сворачиваем.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Да не закончилась
That
история любви.
night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Да серьезно, они дом с забором перевозили? Ну...
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Вот мамка не дала дочитать, но ю...
I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone.
Дуй. Да, надо было дуть.
The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Я бы сейчас сказала, на что это похоже, раз она беременная, то это похоже на ее вагину, блядь, но я не буду это говорить. Это уже сказала, блядь.
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Изнутри я не видела.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Ну вот, я же говорила, это и было то, что я сказала. Ну, дом охеренный. Да, игра, короче, как я поняла, ну, на реальных событиях, по реальной семье, типа. Вот эти все дети. Да или нет? Или это те, кто создавал эту игру? Наверное, это те, кто создавал эту игру, да? Да. Тут же написано, что он делал. Геймплей, да. А я уже их похоронила. Вот пиздец. Ой. Ой, пиздец. Здрасте, здрасте. Мы уже закончили играть в игру. Ну, игра классная, да, классная. Она такая прям затягивает, прям интересно, что... Вообще жестко. У семьи, типа, вообще все померли. Ну, изнутри, видишь, мы сейчас увидели изнутри, как родился ребенок. Типа, с буквами. И все, и идет сын этой девчонки. Там все красочно и красиво. Так что, знаешь, как снаружи красиво, так и внутри. Поэтому, блин, игруха классная. Надо будет еще что-нибудь найти. Короче, мне пришлось ее купить. Ты без нас закончила? Ну да. Мне пришлось ее купить, потому что я качала с торрента, и она была на английском, ну, полностью вообще вся, без вот этих русских надписей. 2 раза качали, и ни хера не получилось, и пришлось купить, блядь. 500 рублей. До свидания. Ну ладно, это того стоило. Сколько мы играем-то? А мы вообще ее за час, что ли, за 2 часа прошли, да? Короче, надо такие игры, вот наподобие этой. И каждый там, через вечерочек это... Фу, хватит ужасти писать. Короче, классная игра, все. Я побегу искать другую наподобие игру. И, может, во что-нибудь сыграем. Просто не хочу игры, которые... Ну, нужно там неделю и каждый день по 3 часа в нее играть. И вот это вот прям классное. Прям за вечер ее прошли. 2 часа. Да, за 2 часа мы прошли эту игру. Так что... всё. Всем спасибо. Всех была рада видеть. Всех обнимаю. Музычку оставлю эту. Я побежала, все. Всех обняла. Возможно, до завтра. Может, до послезавтра.